Karl-Anthony Towns this season is shooting 56% at the rim. He's shooting 21% from the mid-range, and he's shooting 32% from three. Those are all career lows, like to a laughable degree. His career low going into this season at the rim was 62%, so that's a 6% dip. His career low from the mid-range across a full season was 38%, so that's a 17% dip. And his career low from three was his rookie season when he shot 34% from three. So a small dip, but like if you ignore his rookie season, then it's a decently bigger dip. And in spite of those numbers, XJ, dunks and threes just came out with its yearly EPM metric, which estimates impact, not the one they have where they project like Darko does. They came out with, what's happened so far this season. Karl-Anthony Towns XJ is in the 91st percentile in offensive EPM. 91st percentile with these shooting numbers. It's the same as his offensive impact his last season in Minnesota when he shot 42% from three as a power forward. His offensive impact per dunks and threes, shooting this poorly, would be higher than 5 of Anthony Davis's last 6 seasons. It would also be the second best of Julius Randle's 5 seasons in New York. Just think about that for a second. This is Karl-Anthony Towns shooting at a rate which is impossibly unsustainable. He is never going to shoot this bad. If he keeps shooting this bad, it would be like an outlier of historic proportions. We have 10 seasons, his entire life, that we know of. I feel like you going on about Desmond Bane a few weeks ago about in our Orlando episode. Like, it is unfathomable that Karl-Anthony Towns keeps shooting this bad. And in spite of shooting this bad, because of him playing center more, because of how he's being used as a hub at the top of the key with those DHOs to find cutters, and just him simply existing in these lineups with this deployment, creating more space for cutters, for Mikal Bridges, who's having the best stretch of his entire life as a basketball player, for Jalen Brunson, for everybody else he plays with. Just his simple existence on the basketball court is making everybody else better. And this is reflected in one of the best top-down metrics there is. And this is with, again, the worst shooting you'll ever see from the guy.
I agree with all of that. One thing I would amend, I would say it was a 99.9% flawless. One thing I would amend is that you talked about it being Karl-Anthony Towns and taking away his best weapon, which is his shooting. And this is what you see. I would argue you can't take away his best weapon because that's just his gravity as a offensive center, which is not something you can remove from him. When you play him at center, that weapon is there. And no matter what, I mean, unless maybe, 10 years into the future, he's 40 years old, still playing, and he doesn't know how to shoot anymore or something like that. But, outside of any of these unrealistic scenarios, he will always have his best weapon. And thusly, he will always be impacting the game at an extremely high level as a 5, no matter what he's shooting, no matter what he's doing, whether he is a mess, whether he is shooting poorly, whether he is aggressive or not aggressive, or whatever the case may be. His best weapon will always be a part of it because it's inherent to who he is as a basketball player. And that's why we see that kind of impact. He's played a ton of center. Mitchell Robinson hasn't played much. They've shared the court for, I think, maybe like 140 possessions or something like that. And then the rest of the other time, which Karl-Anthony Towns has not missed a game, he's played without Mitchell Robinson. And that's a ton of minutes where he is playing the 5 in all of these different lineups, tons of 5 shooter lineups. And so in those situations, whether Towns shooting well or not, he's going to impact the game tremendously well. Like you mentioned, a couple things with his passing and all of those things.